A new day, a new report. Hello to all of you from a new part of the Daily Map report prepared by the Pioneer team. In a moment, we will analyze the latest developments in Russia-Ukraine war. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive operations continue in 4 sectors of the front line. The war agenda is also very active due to the war. Many people are wondering how long the war will last. The Ukrainian army continues its counteroffensive operations. There are fierce clashes, especially on the Zaporizhia front line and the Bakhmut front line. During these clashes, Russian positions were badly damaged. The attacks of the Ukrainian infantry and Ukrainian artillery units have worn out the Russian troops. In addition, the inability of the Russian administration to provide the necessary equipment to the Russian troops is also a factor in this. So what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's take a look at the developments together. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss the daily map reports and the agenda reports prepared by the Pioneer team. Also, continue to express your opinion about our content in the comments. I read all your comments. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. First of all, let me say this. In recent days, there have been many reports about the failure of the Ukrainian armed forces. But as I said in our previous reports, the war is now neck and neck in terms of gains. Also, I need to point out the following. At the beginning of the war, Russian sources claimed that the Russian army would enter Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, within a week. However, at the point reached today, the Russian army cannot even protect its own territories as it acquired. The situation clearly shows that the Ukrainian army has given a successful test so far. So now let's go back to our map today. We will start with the Zaporizhia front line. Let's take a look at the area between Verbov and Novoprokopivka. As you know, I often say there has been Dragon's Teeth, one of the most important parts of the Russian army's defense line. The Ukrainian army has overcome those Dragon's Teeth at many points. Now it is the turn of the defense line consisting of the Russian tanks and armored vehicles. The current goal of the Ukrainian troops is to break through this defense line by advancing to the area where these armored vehicles and tanks are located. Therefore, the movement of the Ukrainian army towards this goal clearly frightened the Russian army. In recent days, the Russian army has attacked along the line between Verbov and Novoprokopivka. The aim of the Russian troops was to eliminate the threat posed by the Ukrainian army in the region. Russian troops launched an offensive in recent days with artillery support. However, Ukrainian artillery units responded to the attacks with the same intensity. As a result of the successful defense of the Ukrainian defense forces, the Russian troops trying to advance in the region were repelled. It is reported that Russian troops suffered heavy losses during these attacks. There is also the Novofedorovka region. As you know, one of the strategies of the Ukrainian army during the counterattack is to expand the front line. The Ukrainian army expands the front line and ensures the dilution of Russian troops. In this way, the Ukrainian army has the opportunity to advance more easily despite fighting in a wider area. According to the information we have obtained from local sources, the Ukrainian army has increased its attacks around Novofedorovka in recent days. Russian positions in the vicinity of Novofedorovka are being hit by the Ukrainian artillery units. It is possible to speak of the information of a new wing during the war. The dueling of artillery units continues in the region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units hit Ukrainian positions in Malaya, Tokmakcha, and Robotny. On the other hand, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces hit Russian positions in Novoprokopivka, Novopokrovka, Novofedorovka, Kopani, and Dichenko. Now let's look at the latest developments in the Wuhldar sector of the Zaporizhia front line. As you know, the Ukrainian army has created a large bulge between the Russian positions here. This bulge consists of Yorkhain and Shromayorsk. Since the Ukrainian army took control of these 2 regions, the Russian army has been continuing its attack to recapture the region. However, no results have been achieved so far. Ukrainian defense fortifications in the region maintain their superiority. It has been about 2 months since the region came under the control of the Ukrainian army. There has been no deterioration in the positions of the Ukrainian army for 2 months. The Russian troops are unable to achieve results despite all their attacks. These attacks only cause losses to the Russian army. One of the important points in the Wuhldar sector is Priyotny. As you know, the Ukrainian army was trying to advance in this area. If the Ukrainian army advances in this area, the front line will expand. In other words, something similar to what happened in Robotny section of the Zaporizhzhia front line is happening here too. The Ukrainian army is trying to expand the front line and divide the Russian positions. According to the latest reports, Russian troops are attacking the area. The aim of this attack is to prevent the Ukrainian army's plan, that is, the expansion of the front. However, so far Russian troops have not achieved any significant success. The Ukrainian army continues to hold the capture points around Pryotny. According to the latest reports, artillery battles in this area have intensified considerably. Russian troops shelled Ukrainian positions in the vicinity of the Stromoyorsk, Urkhain, and Pryotny. On the other hand, Ukrainian artillery shelled Russian positions in Zavidny Bozhania, Novodonetsk, and Novomyrovsk. Now let's move on to the Donetsk front line. First, let's see the map of the Donetsk front line. The situation in Mariinka is stable. The traditional attacks of Russian troops and the area continue today. However, there is no results. Ukrainian defense forces in the area managed to repel the Russian troops. According to the reports of local sources, new Ukrainian troops began to gather in Mariinka. We know that the attacks of the Russian army have been continuing in Mariinka region for a long time. The Russian army failed to make any gains during these attacks. On the contrary, many Russian soldiers lost their lives during these attacks. Therefore, Russian positions in this region have weakened. If the claims of local sources are true, Ukrainian forces may launch new strong attacks in this region. With the attack, we can say that there will be a weakness in the Russian defense line. We continue with the Bakhmut front line. The Bakhmut front line remains active. According to the latest reports, Russian troops attacked Klishchivka from the northeast and tried to expand their positions. Russian artillery was also active during this time. However, Russian troops failed to achieve results and retreated. The Ukrainian army is trying to expand its positions in the direction of Andreevka. Russian positions in the area are constantly shelled by the Ukrainian infantry. If the Ukrainian army can expand its positions here, the pressure on Klishchivka will be lifted. This will also allow the Ukrainian army to maneuver more easily in the region. In the coming days, I think that the Ukrainian army will advance both in the direction of Andreevka and further south around Ozaryanovka and Kordomuivka. What do you think the Ukrainian army should do on the Zaporizhzhia front? How do you assess the deterioration in positions of the Russian army? Do you think the Ukrainian army will advance further? How do you assess the current situation on the Bakhmut front line? Let me know in the comments. I read and I care about all your comments.